What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great week so far. Got another fragrance rotation for you guys coming your way. Now, as always, I'm going to leave the names of the fragrances, the dates that I wore them in the description, just so you guys can kind of keep up with the video there. And we'll just go ahead and get started here. So Monday, Riverside Drive from Bond Number 9. One of my all-time favorite fragrances. Definitely one of my favorites from the house of Bond Number 9. Absolute classic in my opinion. I've had the original version. It's 20-year-old bottle. It's just below halfway, aging beautifully. So when I bought the new one, just kind of seeing it transition over the last year, get a little bit more mature. Just absolutely gorgeous notes of rose, pineapple, lily of the valley. In my opinion, what really makes the fragrance is the basil and the patchouli and the dry down. The basil, it is a top note, but it does seem to stick with the fragrance all the way through. And it's very nice because it's not too overdone and it's not too herbal. Just adds the right amount of masculinity and edge to this fragrance that it wouldn't have otherwise. And of course you got the oak moss and sandalwood in there. Beautiful, beautiful dry down on this. One of my favorites from the house. Very masculine. When I first had this fragrance years and years and years ago, I pretty much only had Creed and Bond Number 9s. I think I had Creed Original Santal and a few other ones like Green Irish Tweed, Imperial Millicene, and man, I think Royal Oud. I hadn't had that yet because that didn't come out for a couple years later. But the bottom line is, whenever my ex-girlfriend would go out on dates, of all the fragrances I had, she would always request that I wore Riverside Drive. So it was not only one of my favorite fragrances, it was also other people's favorite fragrance on me. So that's just a win-win when people love the fragrance on you just as much as you love it yourself. Can't ask for anything more. So Alexandria 2 from Xerjoff on Tuesday. Maybe a little bit controversial. A lot of people either think this is one of the best from the house of Xerjoff or they just don't like the fragrance. I personally think it's very, very good. You guys know I don't like powdery fragrances, and it does slightly lean in that direction, but it's mainly a rosewood, and a nice, beautiful apple note to it. Very clean oud, extremely long lasting and developmental fragrance, highly complimented. Really, you can wear it any time of the year because it's strong enough, but it does have a nice note to it to where it could definitely be worn during spring or summer, so pretty versatile as well. But Alexandria 2 for me is a very good fragrance, somewhat situational, a little bit dress up, maybe occasion-based scent. But yeah, I really enjoy Alexandria 2 from Xerjoff, and I know a lot of other people do as well. Always seem to get a lot of compliments on it too. So Dubai Jade from Bond Number 9 on Wednesday. Now, Dubai Jade, if you look at the notes on there, at least for me when I read them, I thought it was going to be a little heavier, and I'm kind of glad that it's not. But when you look at the base notes, I think it has incense, oud, birch tar, a couple other notes in there that would lead you to believe it's a little bit heavier than it actually is. But really, you get a beautiful raspberry and violet, like violet leaf note in the top. Floral, sweet, very slightly spicy, but even though they list cumin as a note in here, a lot of people that would cause them to run away. I would not pick out cumin in this fragrance unless I read it in the ingredient beforehand. I would just not. It doesn't smell anything down the kind of pathway of like Amouage Fate Man, where it smells like you're wearing cooking spices. I think the cumin is just in here, more blended in for complexity. And so the top notes are not overly floral or overly sweet. And they did just an unbelievable job of blending this. Very good for spring or summertime. You could definitely wear it during the cooler weather or winter time, but for me, the fragrance itself and the way it plays on my skin definitely seems more for warmer weather, a little bit lighter, more friendly. Anyone can wear this from the house of Bond Number 9, you know what I'm saying? Like men, women, it doesn't matter, you know, if you're new to perfume in general, even if you're new to like niche perfume, it's just a very inviting, complex, friendly fragrance. Not overly, you know, stuffy or anything like that. It's really just a gorgeous, gorgeous fragrance. So Dubai Jade, I always get a lot of compliments on it. But again, you know, if you think it's going to be a powerhouse heavy fragrance by looking at some of those base notes, it actually is not blended around those base notes as like the focal point of the fragrance. You know, the fragrance is very, very balanced, and it's a little bit lighter than you would expect. And I actually love that about Dubai Jade. So now, what is not light is Chocolate Makes Me Happy from Unique Luxury. Very dense fragrance, resiny, chocolate, coffee, A little bit of citrus notes in there too to keep it interesting. You know, it's not just a really dark coffee-based gourmand with chocolate in there. No, it's got a lot of resins. Nice citrus note at the top as well to keep it really interesting. A little bit juicy with that gourmand chocolate and coffee. So just a really, really well-balanced fragrance. Huge amount of compliments on that. Again, you could definitely wear it any time of the year, but this one I'll probably be saving a little bit more for cooler weather. I wore it a couple times in the heat, and it did just fine. I mean, it's a great fragrance even for that. But for me personally, I'll probably save that a little bit more towards fall and winter time, just because for me personally on my skin, it fits a little bit better for that. So Reckless Leather from Amouage. In some ways, I don't want to say it's similar to Do by Jade, but in some ways, just because of the note breakdown, when you look at Reckless Leather from Amouage, there's a lot that would lead you to believe this is going to be a much heavier fragrance than it is. And I was kind of surprised. You know, it's a very sweet, slightly spicy leather-based fragrance. It's got leather, oud, and ambergris in the base. And I really love the addition of ambergris in this fragrance because it's done light enough to where you don't get a very large maritime presence. But it's beautiful because it really helps kind of keep that leather grounded and not making it too dominant, while also at the same time, it seems like it kind of helps it be a little bit more complex to where you're not just smelling it and it smells like you're smelling like the inside of a brand new car or a briefcase. You know, you do get leather in this fragrance as you would expect from the name of it, but it's not overkill. It's very complex and it makes the fragrance more than the sum of its parts, if that makes any sense. It's not, you know, even though it's Reckless Leather, it's not completely focal on leather. I wouldn't say it's even more leather than like Tom Ford's. Some of his fragrances that he uses are like Boadicea Immortale from Argos. It's actually less obvious, the leather note in this, than some of those other fragrances, and it really lends way to the base notes and the other spices and things they put in this fragrance. Just a masterful job of blending this. And again, similar to Jade, you know, looking at the notes, I thought it was going to be a little bit heavier than what it was. Pleasantly surprised when I put it on skin. Very good complexity, depth, and development. Very good complemented fragrance as well. As one of those fragrances to where people really seem to enjoy it. It's not going to drown out a room. It's not overly strong, but it's just strong enough to where your presence will be felt. So Reckless Leather is a wonderful fragrance, very versatile, dressing up, office, date night, whatever you want to wear it for. Just unbelievably good fragrance from Amouage, and one that's not really spoken about that much from the Library series. So if you haven't tried Reckless Leather, I would definitely recommend it if you enjoy the description that I gave. So, 2 from the House of Boadicea, Saturday and Sunday. Sorry, I got a little bit off track, so that's going to be Friday and Thursday there. Friday was Reckless Leather. So, Blue Sapphire on Saturday. Had a pool party that was going to my buddy's house, so I sprayed this on a shirt. I didn't put it on skin because I knew I was going to be getting in the pool. I may have done like a little spray on the net because normally I don't go in all the way. Just drinking beers and stuff like that, hanging out by the pool. But a lot of compliments on Blue Sapphire. A lot of my friends wanted to know what it was that I was wearing. Very much like a playful opening, like a lemon head orange candy. Then you get, in my opinion, one of the best parts of the fragrance, which is the rose, and then of course the patchouli and oud dry down. One of my favorite parts of the fragrance, as good as the opening is, it just has a really, really nice patchouli and oud dry down. Wonderful stuff from the House of Boadicea. I can see why this is one of their most popular fragrances. Very wearable, complex, smells unique, great longevity. And, you know, like I always say with Boadicea, you would kind of expect that for the price. So it's one of those things that's a great fragrance, but you would expect that for the money they're charging. And Sunday, Tobacco Sapphire, because I was going over to my dad's house, bringing some cigars. Anytime I know I'm going to be smoking cigars or making plans for it, I always try to wear a tobacco fragrance to go along with kind of the ambiance, and something that's never going to interfere with the spirit, which is very important. You know, some tobacco fragrances can be a little bit overkill. One thing I love about Tobacco Sapphire is it is very, very strong, but it's not overly strong for no reason. The spices in here, the mandarin, cumin, incense, tobacco, a lot of wood notes in here as well. I mean, it is just absolutely gorgeous stuff. One of my favorites for wearing, smoking cigars, and drinking bourbons or single malt scotch, because it's not strong enough to where it's going to interfere with your judgment or enjoyment of the cigars or the spirits that you're drinking. So it's just a very good pairing. And a lot of people really enjoy this fragrance. Even my son, when I spray this on, my son will say, that's one of the best ones. And he's young enough. I won't tell you his age, but he's young enough to where he can start kind of appreciating this stuff. But he doesn't know enough about it to be biased either, and he doesn't know exactly which ones I'm wearing. So sometimes I'll spray something on and he'll make a comment, and I think it's been 2 or 3 times that I've wore this one now, that even my son really enjoys it. So it's interesting to see that perspective from somebody that of course could not build up any bias towards this sort of thing. We all, whatever hobby we get into, whether it's single malt scotch, cigars, bourbons, fragrances, we all develop our own prejudices over time, whether we like to admit it or not. Some can be biased towards and against certain houses. So it is really interesting at certain times to have a unique perspective on that. And especially Tobacco Sapphire, in my opinion, one of the best ones from the entire house if you like tobacco fragrances. So yes, it's expensive, maybe for a special occasion, buy it for yourself and then save it for special occasions so you can save it for years and years on end. Let it mature, continue to get better in the bottle. Just make sure you keep it well, keep it out of the heat, keep it out of the light, and that fragrance will serve you well for years and years to come. And this is it for the fragrance rotation, guys. This was a really killer week. Sometimes I go back in my notes and I feel like every week is a pretty good week, just because it is my collection. I've chosen them personally. But some weeks I look at and I'm like, man, that was a really good fragrance week. And I think this was certainly one of them. Really enjoyed wearing this stuff, a lot of stuff for occasion-based scents, like I was speaking of with the pool party, the cigars, even dressing up. I think I dressed up when I wore Riverside Drive on Monday. I'll leave the description below, but this is like 4 weeks back from when I'm filming it now. I got to get caught up from these storms a little bit. So, guys, great having you along on this journey. Hope you enjoyed the video. I got a lot more stuff coming for the channel. Gonna try to get caught up on these fragrance rotations and get a couple other unique videos out featuring certain houses and what I'm going to be wearing for fall time from those houses. So I look forward to seeing you guys for that. Hope you have a great day, and I'll see y'all soon, all right? Bye.